right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, hello and welcome to the 2024 Global Energy Managers Workshop. Thank you for joining us on Zoom today. We'll be discussing fossil-free living labs. My name is Isabella Bianchi, and I'm a master's student at the Energy Graduate Group here at UC Davis, and I will be your MC for today's workshop. I'll start by introducing the founders of this workshop, which is Dr. Kurt Kornbluth and Josh Morejohn, to kick us off.
Thank you so much, Isabella. So welcome to the 2024 Global Energy Managers Workshop. Just like Isabella said, Josh, I'm a professor in biological agricultural engineering. I run a thing called Sustainable Campus, Sustainable Cities, which I'll talk about in a little while. Josh, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Josh Morejohn. I'm on the operations side of the campus, so oversee the utilities and engineering teams and facilities management for UC Davis. Been here 17 years and been working with Kurt most of that time.
Great. So we're going to be here till round 2. Feel free to come and go as you choose. Couple of logistical things. We're going to get 3 different presentations. At the far end, we're going to split, so you'll have a choice of 2 different places to go. 20 minutes for question and answer. Please type your questions in the Q&A box. The chat is enabled, so please network and connect with others as you wish. We're going to do a short survey at the very end. If you could do that, it helps us not only learn about this conference, but we're trying to plan an in-person conference, and it will help with that. If you have any issues, chat Sherry. She's here the whole time, and she can help you in real time. So no problem. Just wanted to introduce a little bit like where this thing came from, and also a little bit about what we're doing at UC Davis. Started out, like Josh mentioned, that we started just offering a couple courses in energy and trying to get the campus more sustainable. Then we ended up with the Energy Graduate Group here around 8 years ago, and then this Sustainable Campus, Sustainable Cities was launched as a university-backed initiative. Has 4 sort of pieces to it: progress, research, education, and impact. And progress is really what we're doing on the campus. Like, how are we getting to either zero net energy, or how are we getting towards fossil-free or carbon emissions, whatever zero waste, all these goals we have. How are we actually getting on our own campus? Education is how we incorporate our mission as a university of education into project-based learning and working on the campus as a living lab. We have an energy graduate group, but we use students from all disciplines. The research part of this thing is actually taking the learning and spinning it out, generalizing it, publishing it, and diving deeper into any of these, let's say, applied projects that we're working on. The impact is what we're trying to do in the in the real world outside of the university, and that would be with other universities, other communities. And one of the ways we do this is through this Global Energy Managers Workshop, which is to learn from others and have them learn from us. We have campus partnerships with all over the world, including some of our friends from Denmark, and we'll talk a little bit about that project today. But in general, that's what this Sustainable Campus, Sustainable Cities, and that's where GEM fits in. This year, we decided we have a different theme every year. We decided to look at fossil-free living labs, and that was partly prompted by the fact that UCOP, the University of California Office of the President, is launching an initiative to have the 10 campuses essentially have fossil-free living labs there. And so this is just kind of an opportunity to take that and look into that a little closer. Anything I missed, Josh?
No, I can dive into. We're going to just talk about each of these aspects a little bit more as part of this quick intro. And like Kurt said, the progress piece of this process is really the projects that happen on campus, and that's where a lot of this came out of, is collaboration between Kurt and I on student projects that he had in his class and that we were actually implementing on campus. And that's been everything from energy dashboards and engagement tools to an energy team that's funded out of the savings that they get for the campus. And then bigger capital projects like this big shift that you'll hear about more later. This is putting hot water pipe in the ground a couple of years ago on campus. And all of these have kind of bubbled up through this process, had a lot of student involvement at various points, but all been real projects on campus. And so that's kind of where we want to keep the focus is doing actual work on campus.
Yeah, and just to back up 1 second, the cool thing about UC Davis is that we don't have this up here right now, but our enrollment is constantly going up and our energy use is constantly going down. Isn't that right, Josh?
Yeah, there's been a big success story on that over the last 20 years with all the growth. We're below the energy levels we were 20 years ago. So that's part of what we want to do is showcase some of the things we've been able to learn and do along the way. So Gert, I don't know, you want to dive into the research at all?
Well, one thing I did want to say is that we do project-based learning, which is part of the way we do this. And if you want to convince professors, faculty, et cetera, to get on board, they have to get something out of it besides, they might get the teaching mission out of it, but they also need to publish. And so what we try to do is take these projects, if possible, and publish them. And so these are just we've had lots of publications out from the actual applied projects we've done. This is one about improving efficiency and comfort, and also about, for example, real-time dispatching of chillers and thermal energy storage in university campus central plant. And that started out as a student project where we knew that we have hot water storage. We knew that, cold water storage. We knew that there was probably an optimum time to fill up our cold water, but we didn't really know when it was. And so we gave this to 3 students in our class, and they interviewed the plant operators. They looked at climate data, they looked at energy costs, and they came up with a protocol. Now we saved about $30,000 or $40,000 the first year, so that was already a success. And then they went deeper into it. We had some MBA students looking at it, and we actually managed to look at that, do a little more scientific, and publish that. So you can look on our website and you'll find these publications out there.
Yeah, that was, going back 10 years ago, we started this process. And then shout out to Devin here on the screen, who one of our grad students who then kind of took it to the next level with a chemical engineering grad student as well, where they developed an algorithm to actually model a plant using real-time grid data on pricing on electricity and publish the paper. But actually, we're actually using that to control our plant dispatch now. So just an example of a lot of the layers you can build in. You get really smart people on the campuses working on these problems, and it's a two-way benefit on that front.
And I'm going to go through these next a little bit quicker. So education, like I said, we have a path to zero net energy, which is kind of the cornerstone of our energy education. We will start adding like path to zero waste, path to circular economy, other ones we're working on right now. But this is project-based courses. We started with about 15 students. Now we're 42. We have a room filled up. We're over-enrolled almost every year. And this is multidisciplinary groups work on interdisciplinary problems, project-based, and with real clients that are waiting for the answers. About 75% are on campus, and then we take about 25% of the projects are people off campus. And I have one graduate student, Isabella Bianchi, who's on this call, who is dedicated to putting these projects together, helping me run the class, and then following up on these projects. And we have a lot of success stories. If you decide you want to come here and study energy or other disciplines and work on this initiative, I can't think of a single student who hasn't gotten a job after they leave here. So these are just the different places: Sandia, Olivine, Berkeley, Stanford. We have students, some of them are actually working as energy managers at these different sites. So we can point to lots of successes. I think that students work on real projects, and they can talk about these projects when they leave here, and it's very easy for them for employers to take to them. And next one, and then as part of this outreach and impact, we have one of our international collaborators is 3 universities in Denmark: Southern Denmark University, Danish Technical University, and Aalborg. Aalborg founded project-based learning, so they only do project-based learning, and we used a lot of their techniques in our courses. So we worked with them for about.
Oh, Kurt, looks like you froze.
Go
Oh, you're
ahead.
back. You froze up, but you're back.
Oh, sorry. We sent 8 students to Southern Denmark University to focus on climate action planning. And then we have 4 students from Denmark here. They just left. They were here for 2 weeks. And we have faculty coming from Denmark next month to work on a zero waste course. So this is just, you're going to hear from 2 of my students today about their experience.
Just to wrap up that impact piece, sort of the international and wider, broader impact is the history of this workshop, where it really grew out of just a UC energy managers meeting that was happening sporadically, and we wanted to basically make that bigger and see if anyone else was interested in joining. That turned into a 2019 in-person workshop that had about 70 participants. It had moved online in 2020, of course, and we actually found it got even broader reach at that point. And so we've been continuing with the online format and then interspersing some in-person workshops, because we like to get people here on campus and actually working together a little more interactively. But this year, again, we've got people all over the world registered. It's heavily weighted toward colleges, universities. That's kind of the heart of what we're doing here, but we're trying to share what we're doing with other campuses and and other partners, and there's other industry and government here as well. So we're really excited. You can see the word cloud of who's registered for this year, and definitely a lot of energy managers, but kind of a broad group of people, a lot related to operations, and that's really the focus. But we like to get academics in here as well, and the government folks. So really excited about kicking this off. I think, Kurt, the next thing is we've got a poll.
Yep. So Sherry's going to launch the poll, and then we can look at the
So you all should be seeing a poll now on your Zoom, and we'll ask you to fill that out. This is actually just our goal is to get feedback from you, why you're here, what you're interested in, help us make these better going forward. So go ahead and fill that out and we'll move on. And Kurt, you want to talk about the results? Looks like people are already filling it out pretty quickly.
Okay. So we wanted to know a little bit what you guys were trying to get from today's conference. It looks like about a third of you are talking about learning best practices about other living labs. Half of you want to know about technologies decarbonize. I think that would be that would be throughout this conference, and we'll also in the session 3 in the first parallel session look at that. Network and develop relationships with others in the space. We will be sending out the contact list, so you'll be able to actually see who came here, and that was about 12%. Second one, does your organization have interest or mandates to create a living lab? It looks like about 3/4 of you have interest. Only 5% are mandated, and maybe that's sort of gray whether you're actually mandated or not. A quarter of you say you do not have any interest. It says your organization doesn't, but I'm guessing maybe you personally do because you're here. What drives you to participate in this conference? Looked like 14% said research opportunity. Only 4 said business opportunity. Looks like a quarter of you were encouraged by your organization. And then about more than half of you just kind of are interested in being part of the climate solution. So I guess if you see this as one of those, then that's it. So this is super helpful for us. And hopefully we can try to, our speakers can try to hit on some of these as we go through here. Josh, you want to go over the agenda real quick, and then we'll bring on the keynote.
Yeah, and thanks to Kurt and the others who really put together, I think, a really interesting agenda. We've got some really interesting speakers for each of these sessions. And as we've done in the past, we're going to have lunch with music, so you can enjoy some live music at lunch. And then the last session is going to be a split session. You get to choose which one you want to go to before we come back together at 2:35 for a wrap up and final survey. Anything to highlight, Kurt, before we jump into the keynote?
No, just the last 2 parallel sessions. 3A would be working with Stacy, myself, and Isabella, and we put together an interactive session where you guys can explore some of the, I think, ideas behind creating a living lab, what makes it successful, what makes it inclusive. And I think it's going to be good sessions, interactive. And then if you want to look at actual some case studies of energy solutions derived from campus research, that's going to be great. That's going to be session 3B. Ben Finkler will be running that session, and we'll actually look at some of the vendors that actually worked on campus, on our UC Davis campus on projects. I think they're both going to be good, I hope. But you're going to have to choose one or the other. We'll spend a few minutes on wrap up after that, and then we'll do a short poll. So